YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Curated Topics, brought to you by Curated Scents LLC. It has been a good long while. I know it has been a good long while since I did a recording, and I promised you all, I've been promising you all, and we are back with them. We are back to the recordings. We're going to hop right in. So as you can see, if you haven't seen any of my live streams, I got a new chair. Shout out to NGen. I am shouting them out because I actually really like this chair. Check them out. This is one of their gaming computer chairs. This thing is comfortable, man. Comfortable, easy to put together. I put it together myself. I'm a little bit handy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we are continuing to upgrade. We build it as we fly it. So I have just been trying to make small upgrades, but we're making them. If you've been checking out the channel, I've been doing some live streams recently. So I've been covering a lot of sports news, and I think I'm going to continue that trend of talking about the sports throughout a live. Now I might do some here or there, to tie them into the topics as I see fit. But I think I'm going to start moving that sort of content, moving the sports over to live streams. I can put up some of the highlights just a little bit. I can put up some of the other news and react to it. And then I have actually found that I'm getting some immediate views, immediate traction with those. So I'm going to be doing that. That's how I'll be doing live streams. Still going to be doing reactionary live streams as well. So, celebrate those milestones. We're going to do like some funny ones, and I'll talk about those, stuff like that. And then I'm just going to live stream whenever I want. To be honest with you, I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm not struggle streaming as much. Now, I have had some little bumps and things like that, but you know what? We build it as we fly it, and we learn as we go. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. I'm not going to jump the gun, though. I do want to tell you all about some things that I have been doing, but I got to start it off with Candle of the Evening. We got the Kraken bottle. Y'all see that? We got the Kraken bottle. And what's the scent we got in here? Smells so good, as they always do. This is one of our more popular cologne scents and a personal favorite of mine. This is the Gentleman, fashioned after the Da Vinci cologne. Very, very masculine, but has a hint of sweetness to it. That comes from the vanilla. It also comes from a little bit of pear, and then it has some strong florals in the back end. This is a very potent scent. I love it. It's one of my personal favorites. And it's one of my personal favorites because I always get compliments on it. Whenever I wear it out, it's very long lasting, but it spreads throughout the room. It mixes with my body well. Mixes with my body well, so when I'm moving throughout the day, it starts to smell even better, and it just irradiates as I'm moving throughout the day. I have been told, quote, "Man, I just love how it just lingers. I can smell wherever he walks." We like those kinds of compliments. You don't want the reverse. But anyway, so make sure y'all check us out. That's CuratedScentsLLC.com. We have a summer sale going right now. The summer sale is for all of our scents, but more specifically, the Bye Bye Bugs. Now, with the Bye Bye Bugs candles, man, they are gonna keep those bugs away. We're not yet halfway through the summer, but the mosquitoes are out, and they are making a name for themselves. So if you want to keep them away, keep them up off you, make sure you check us out. Get you a Bye Bye Bugs candle. Promise you they will not disappoint. I'm going to use that in today's episode, either at the end or somewhere in the middle as a little commercial. I will show y'all the Bye Bye Bugs candles. So anyway, check us out, CuratedScentsLLC.com. Let's get right into the content because I want to be fairly quick.
So I want to do a review of this candle that I bought from this gentleman, and he did such an amazing job. And I ordered a 50 penny for like a citronella candle for outside, but I've been burning it in the house. It smells really good, like it's super strong and potent. And the wick, I don't know if y'all can see that, but the wick doesn't burn out quickly. Like I've had those wooden wicks where like you can't use the candle anymore, but this one is really nice. It smells good, and it's reusable glass. So I thought that was a cute idea, especially for an outdoor patio party, to have the Hennessy bottle as the centerpiece. So I love it.
I told y'all, don't get bit up. You see where they at. They in the candle. They not on you. Better copy one. This is going to be a long one, but we are back in the emotional intelligence book. Let me see if I can. There we go. Emotional Intelligence 2.0. I figured a little bit about how to get it to focus and you know, so it's not so much glare. Like I said, we build it as we fly. I've been learning some little tips and tricks, but also, you know, we're going to get into this. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about what I have been doing and why I haven't recorded as much. Now, I did do a video where I talked about the process, and I talked a little bit about what I am doing. Well, I just completed my recording for my voiceover demo. So it has now been sent up the chain. It has now been sent off to an editor who's going to do some professional editing on it, going to add some music, and then they're going to send it back to me and show me how I can put it out there. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. You know, this is something I had considered like in the back of my mind. It was never really at the forefront, as I heard from some other people, you know, hey, you have a great voice. Hey, you should try this. Have you ever thought about voiceover? You know, I came across the opportunity to do it, and I had to jump on it. You know, I had to jump on it. I have talked about in other videos about when opportunity knocks. I've talked about other aspects of my life about when opportunity knocks, and I had to jump on it, just like I did with those other opportunities. And who knows, maybe it'll turn out into something. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping so. I worked with a great coach. Shout out to her. I think she actually started watching my videos because as I was going through this process with her, she asked me, did I have any experience? And I told her about my YouTube channel. So she said that she wanted to check it out. So I'm hoping that means she subscribed as well. If you hear this, thank you. But in all seriousness, I really enjoyed working with her. She was somebody who's very seasoned in the game. She's been doing voiceovers for over 30 years. And she had a lot of compliments for me. And that really gave me some confidence to continue. But not only to continue, but hear what else that she had to say. You know, sometimes it just takes a little bit of positive feedback for you to really be like, okay, yeah, I can do this. So that's what I have been working on for the past 6 weeks, actually. And I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna overwhelm myself. I'm going to work more on that so that I can focus and put my energy towards that so I could produce a good product. But also, I didn't want to take away from this either. I didn't want to rush the process. I didn't want to rush how I have been approaching sharing this type of content with you all. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to give y'all a break. I'm going to give myself a break so that when I come back to it, I can get back to it for real and with purpose and intent. So here we are. We're going through Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and we're picking up right where we left off. Where did we leave off? Well, in our last video, we talked about self-awareness, and we talked about the different strategies to improve self-awareness. So the next one up, self-management. And we're going to talk self-management strategies. First, I want to recap though. What is self-management? Self-management is your ability to use your awareness of your emotions to actively choose what you say and do. So basically, you use your awareness to decide how you're going to react. Self-control is a large piece of the pie. So that's a large piece of what self-management is, but it's not the only thing. Self-management is more than just self-control. It's more than just pushing things to the side. It's more than just burying your emotions. It's also learning how to accurately deal with them. It's also learning how to not simply act on them immediately. It's more than bottling up those feelings during a stressful time, during a stressful moment. It's more than that. It's also about the productive release. When you bottle something up, you're gonna have to let it go at some point or the pressure will build up, right? Think about it like this. What happens when you have a soda can or soda in a bottle and you go and shake it up? You add stress. You can sometimes feel the tension build up in the can. You can feel the tension build up in the bottle. The bottle starts to get tight, pause. And then what happens when you go to release it? It erupts. It bursts and goes everywhere. We don't want that to happen to ourselves. That's what can happen to ourselves when we simply bottle things up. When we bottle up our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts, and we don't have a productive release, we end up blowing up, almost like a volcano. The pressure builds up and we erupt. Now let me ask y'all this. When you get mad, when you've bottled everything up and you finally, pop off, and you finally blow up, you finally erupt, does it come at an appropriate time? Most of the time, no. And I plead the fifth on that. I've done that. Most of the time, it's not at an appropriate time. And most of the time, it's not over something that is truly getting on our nerves. How many times have you blown up at somebody or over something and it was super small? It wasn't even the thing that was really bothering you. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean when I say, bottling things up. It's not always the best way to go. It's not always the best way to go. We end up erupting over something small and unrelated. How can we avoid erupting? That's where self-management comes into play. Self-management helps us pick up on those small things that disrupt us. It helps us build upon the foundational skills that we got from self-awareness. It helps us pick up on those things. It helps us use those techniques that we got from self-awareness, and then we figure out a productive way to release. We figure out a productive way to deal with those emotions. How do we get good at self-management? Well, one way is by getting good at self-awareness. You have to have high self-awareness to be effective at self-management. You need to know what's going on in order to productively respond to it. And you can only respond effectively when you are aware of what you're feeling and thinking. So that's where self-awareness comes into play. High levels of self-management ensure that you aren't getting in your own way in life. You aren't limiting your success. It also ensures that you're not out here frustrating others. It's really frustrating to deal with that person who's always blowing up. Why? Because they're always controlled by their emotions. No one knows how you're going to take things. No one knows how you're going to respond to certain things. And people can be around you feeling like they're walking on the eggshells because they don't know how you're going to react. And as much as we think, hey, people should like us for the way we are, also, people don't want to feel like they have to be super extra careful, or one tiny thing might make you go off the deep end. So we have to stay aware of ourselves. And most importantly, high level of self-management gives you the power to take control of situations by giving you the choice on how you respond to your emotions. You can react more flexible in times of change. You learn how to take initiative in order to achieve your goals. And you do so with confidence. Self-management helps you change your mindset about things. It helps you change your mindset about things. Those who are anxious about times of change. Good self-management helps you approach change with a different perspective. And we're going to talk about that. Self-management is about being able to size yourself up and do it quickly. You grab the reins and you get yourself under control before you head in the wrong direction. It keeps you flexible. It gives you the ability to react positively and productively in different situations. When you don't take time to think about your emotions, you set yourself up for, remember that video? Emotional hijackings. We talked about that. And whether we like it or not, our emotions control us on some level. But it's our responsibility to manage ourselves and control how we react to those emotional charges. Now, I know I just said a lot, but that's just a recap of some of what self-management is. Now let's talk about some strategies. Well, Senator, how am I supposed to help myself get better at self-management? Number one, learn how to breathe correctly. Now that sounds real simple. That sounds real grade school, don't it? What you mean breathe correctly? I breathe all the time. See me doing it? That right there, I was not breathing correctly. Your brain demands about 20% of your body's oxygen supply. And that's just to control your basic functions and some complex functions. What are your basic functions? Breathing, blood flow, sight, things like that. The complex functions, thinking, and what? Managing your mood. This is why breathing is so important. The basic functions, they come first. Those are to help keep you alive, and the rest is for the complex functions, which keep you alert, focused, and calm. When you do this, that's shallow breathing. My chest doesn't move, my stomach doesn't move. I'm not engaging the diaphragm. Y'all can't see my hands. I'm not engaging the diaphragm. This isn't my diaphragm, but we're gonna pretend like it is. I'm not engaging my diaphragm. If your chest doesn't move, if your stomach doesn't move, you're not breathing correctly. You're doing what's called shallow breathing. It doesn't make your stomach go outward because you're not engaging the diaphragm. This deprives your brain of oxygen. That can lead to poor concentration, forgetfulness, mood swings. Let me say that again for the cheap seats. Mood swings, restlessness, lack of energy, and depressed and anxious thoughts. Now that just sounds like I read a bunch of symptoms for medication, right? But it's true. We just talking about breathing. Now, correct breathing. That's slow, deep breaths, inhaling through the nose. If you got allergies like me right now, I'm doing a little bit of mouth breathing, but normally inhaling through the nose to the point where your chest or stomach elevates and goes outwards. That means you're engaging the diaphragm. And then you slowly exhale, releasing all of the air. Did you hear me? All of the air. That helps you slow down your heart rate, but it also helps you when it comes to controlling your mood. Next time you find yourself in a stressful situation, try breathing deeply. Now, I'm not saying this is the cure, but here's what happens. It floods your brain with oxygen. That helps you enter a calmer and more relaxed state very naturally, but almost immediately. You to just take some deep breaths. You are forcing yourself physically to calm down, at least momentarily. Researchers show that this is the most simple yet the most powerful technique to help you manage your emotions. It helps you shift your focus away from intrusive thoughts because you're literally forcing yourself to be calm. You're forcing yourself to be calm. You're slowing down everything else around you and honing in on yourself just by breathing correctly. And that's number one. Number two, create a list. Now, I've used create a list in quite a few videos, but it still rings true. Create a list. Write a list down where on one side you got the labels of the emotions that you're feeling, and on the other side you discuss the reasons for that emotion. This puts everything out in front of you so that you can see it. You know, a lot of the times we try to do things in our heads, and that can sometimes make things more complicated because it doesn't reduce the clutter in our heads. Get it out, put it out on paper. Now you can see it in front of you. You're not worrying about, oh, am I forgetting something or something like that. You have your thoughts right there in front of you, and you don't have to complicate things by trying to recall everything that you're thinking. You can order your thinking. You now have your stuff down on paper so you can organize everything. Even if you write it down in what I like to call word salad. If you're just throwing your thoughts down on the paper, like, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. Even doing that, you still have it on paper so that you can see it. It's there so you're not going to forget it, and then you arrange it how you see fit. You're doing a natural decluttering of your mind. This allows you to use your knowledge and take both your emotional and rational sides into account. You don't have to be one way or the other. Can't see my hands. one way or the other. I'm doing all this underneath the camera view, and I'm pointing and doing anyway, but now you can take both sides into account. You can see, okay, how important are my emotions in this situation? And then, is what I'm going through, am I allowing my emotions to take control during that situation? Or am I allowing my reason, my rationale to come in and play a role as well? Now also, you don't just want your rationale to be running the show either, because you have emotions. Your emotions have purpose. But I want you to ask yourself two important questions. Where are your emotions clouding your judgment? And write that down on a piece of paper as well. After you've gotten all the emotions down and the reasons why you're going through those, ask yourself, where are your emotions clouding your judgment? Not only does this help you to declutter, this also holds you accountable. This makes you self-reflect. This makes you go back and look at yourself. Am I thinking about this correctly? Are my emotions running the show? If so, where? What part? This helps you pinpoint where are your emotions coming into play. Second question, is your reasoning and rational brain ignoring important cues from your emotions? I talked about this a little bit earlier. You don't want your rational brain to be the only thing running the show. Your emotions will cause you trouble if you let them lead you around without any reason. But your rational thoughts can be just as problematic. They can keep you from achieving a goal or going after opportunities because you don't have the emotional wherewithal to take the risk. You don't want to be out here moving like a robot. I can only do this task because this is the only task to be done. Nah. You want to have that sense of ambition. You want to have that sense of drive. You want to have that sense of courage to go out there and achieve what it is you want to achieve. And that's me speaking in terms of success or whatever it is that you want, goal setting, whatever. But there are other times where your emotions do need to come into play. This is about emotional intelligence, not emotional avoidance. And I want to make that clear. So I hope y'all hear me when I say this isn't just about, oh, well, I can't have any emotions. Remember, you don't want to bottle them up, because that's when things happen that you don't plan and that you don't mean. You want to find productive ways to utilize your emotions. You just don't want them running the show. You don't want to be sitting there, oh, well, I was angry, so I did this. Nah. You don't want to be, oh, I was happy, so I did this. No, because that shows you don't think about what you're doing. Your emotions are running the show. You want them to work with your rational brain so that you can get a better outcome. So, moving on, lists are easier done when you have the time and space to write things out. Now, some of these, I want to preface this as well. A lot of these are going to tie into each other. We got 17 of them, but a lot of these are going to tie into each other. So you'll hear me say things that sound kind of repetitive, but use it. Let them play on each other. Pause. My bad. That was crazy. But let them work in tandem. Let them work hand in hand. Remember, you can utilize more than one technique at more than one time. So when you have the space and time to write these things out, that encourages you to be more reflective about what's going on. This helps you work through things and problem solve. Number 3, make your goals public. Not too public. You don't want everybody in your business. Make your goals public. Make them public to someone you trust. How many of us have goals, or we had goals, we had some past dreams that we never accomplished? We never accomplished them. I plead the fifth. I'm right there with you. How many of us didn't achieve the goals and dreams simply because we weren't held accountable? I plead the fifth again. Whether that be being held accountable by ourselves or someone else. I plead the fifth again. There's plenty of times where I've said, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. or I'll start working on it tomorrow, I'll start studying tomorrow, and then tomorrow never came. When you make your goals public, especially to that person who you can trust, when you talk about your goals and make them public to someone who you know will hold you accountable, that person who will they'll check you, and they will check in with you and check you. They're going to ask you about your progress. That person who will challenge you to make sure that you complete the task. Now, for a lot of us, that's our spouse. That's the person we're in a relationship with. For some others, that could be our best friend. It could be a parent. It could be a mentor. Anybody, but you need to find that person who will challenge you. Making your goals public can be a powerful motivator. You don't want to publicly let yourself down, and you definitely don't want to let others down, right? You don't want to be known as the person who doesn't follow through. When you have others who are aware of your progress, it creates an incredible sense of accountability. When I go to the gym, I like to go to the gym with a partner. I like to go to the gym with somebody. An accountability buddy is what we call it. Why? Because they make sure I get the workout done. Oftentimes at the gym, it's far too easy to be like, I'm tired, I'm going home. Far too easy. Sometimes I'll be wanting to do it after the first workout, but I know that if I got somebody there, they not gonna be like, hey man, you just did one thing. You already ready to leave? Nah, I ain't leaving. I just might need a second. So when you have that person who can help hold you accountable, it makes you want to get the job done. Much of self-management comes down to motivation. So use others' expectations of you as a motivator to keep yourself moving forward towards your goal. Select people who have your best interest at heart, who will actually pay attention to your progress, and ask them to monitor you. By asking, you're putting yourself in a place of vulnerability, which is uncomfortable, but that can be a motivator as well. You got to humble yourself to ask them. You got to humble yourself to ask for help. This is what can help motivate you even more, because by humbling yourself, you're going to earn the respect of that other person. And if they truly care about you, they're going to stay on top of your ass. They're going to stay on top of your ass. Excuse me, YouTube, for cussing. They're going to stay on top of your ass. But they're going to do so in a way they want to see you achieve your goals as well. They want to see you succeed as well. And all of that is a powerful motivator to keep you going, to build up those good habits. So make sure you find somebody who you can make your goals public to. All right, so we are at number four. Number 4, count to 10. Count to 10. Now, this sounds like a technique from kindergarten, right? A lot of us learn this at an early age, but this is one of the most effective strategies of calming yourself down. And remember, I said it goes hand in hand. This goes hand in hand with correct breathing. Make sure you do it 10 times. Use your correct breathing to help you count. This is one of the best ways to calm yourself down when your emotions are too high. When your emotions are too high, this is one of the best ways. How many of us haven't even thought about this? Like, you haven't thought about this since you were in grade school. That's me. When I was reading this, I'm going to tell y'all a funny story in a minute, but when I was reading this, I was like, man, I definitely could have used this. In all seriousness, let me get back to it. But isn't it funny how, like, as an adult, you lose sight of, like, some of the most simple things? Pretty much everything I read sounds like some stuff we would learn in grade school, coming on up. But it really does help when you take those habits that you've learned and you take them with you into your adulthood. When you do pair this strategy up with the breathing correctly, it produces even better results. So I want you all to try this. Whenever you feel yourself getting angry, stop yourself and then take deep breaths and count as you exhale. The counting mixed with the breathing, it will relax you, but it will also shift your focus. It'll shift your focus off of anger and stop you from reacting immediately. This gives you a chance to regain your composure. It allows the rational centers of your brain to enter the chat, and then you can allow yourself to recalibrate. Now, I want to talk about, I'm going to put myself on blast, right? I just said not too long ago about how when I was reading this, I was reading this section of the book and I was like, man, I really could have used that. So I had a moment when I was at work and I was dealing with somebody who they had an attitude. I don't know what happened, but they had an attitude from either the beginning of the day or something like that. And I was talking to them. I was being pretty nice. I was being a little silly, just trying to bring up the energy a bit, but I was being nice. Everybody else in the room could tell I was being nice, except for them. They responded to me with attitude, and I wasn't gonna let them bring my positive mindset down. So, they tried to come at me with attitude. I'm like, hey, look, I'm not doing the attitude thing. You need to check that. And then they wanted to come with some more attitude. They wanted to say some things that were a little out of bounds. I calmly but firmly let them know, hey, I just told you I'm not doing that attitude stuff. So as I said once before, you can check that attitude, or we can dismiss ourselves from, the group and talk about this privately outside. And in that moment, I'm reading the count to 10. I'm reading it. And, after I handled the situation, and I handled it well, but I had to laugh because I'm reading this section of the book and I'm like, ain't it funny how you will be tested, and I've talked about this, you will be tested as you are working on stuff. As you are working on stuff. Now I'm sitting here working on my notes and I'm being tested. So that just goes to show, one, you got to use these techniques, but also you're going to be tested. You're going to be tested, and utilizing these techniques will truly help you. Now, when you get good at it, sometimes you won't need to go all the way up to 10. And you don't have to count to 10 out loud. You don't really have to count to 10, even in your head too much. You can find other ways to take up those 10 seconds. So in the book, and I've actually seen people do this, and after reading it in the book, I was like, oh, is that what they're doing? So I've noticed that when sitting in meetings and things like that, you ever notice how many people bring their own waters, bring their own water bottles and things like that? And whenever things seem to get a little tense or seem to have a little bit of, uncertainty in the room, or just plain questioning, if you've got people who they're having ideas go bounce off each other and go back and forth, they're not exactly meshing, you will actually see people start to sip their water. They'll start to sip their water. That's part of the technique. They'll sip their water. You'll see them sip their water for like 5-10 seconds. But that's them counting to 10 so that they don't fly off the handle, or so that they can handle the situation calmly. Because sometimes we might hear a different idea, and it's simply because we heard something different or we don't vibe with it emotionally that it makes us want to be kind of when really, if we just took a little bit of time, let it process a bit, it might actually be something we're willing to listen to. Another technique, some people pop rubber bands on their wrist when they start to feel anxious, when they start to feel, upset or angry. You'll sit there and you'll see them. They'll go right on their wrist. Now, they're not going to just hold it up in your face like that, but you'll see them fidget, or you'll see them do other things to help shift their focus, shift their mind so that they're not snapping back. Now, speaking of snapping back, when you have snappy comebacks, those usually lead to heated exchanges, which can then lead to harsh words being thrown. And that was what I was trying to avoid when I was dealing with my situation at work. I was like, okay, listen here, that attitude, we're going to check that, because you'll say something and then I'll say something, and then it'll keep going back and forth, and I'm supposed to know better. As the advisor, I'm supposed to know better. So I just told him, hey, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not going to engage with you. And sometimes that can be your count to 10. You can be like, listen here, I'm not going to do it right now. And then you sit and process. The good part about it was, when I came back to this person later on throughout the day, they were fine. So sometimes, sometimes you do have to check a situation. You do have to say, hey, I'm not doing this with you. We're going to leave this at the door and let's move on. And that can allow someone to think about it and then move on. When you get into those snappy exchanges, A lot of times people say something out of bounds. A lot of times something gets said that it wasn't truly meant. Somebody says something they regret, and it's easy to find yourself in that nasty back and forth. Those can lead to full-blown emotional hijackings. Slow things down, take deep breaths, count to 10, and shift your focus. This helps you regain control of yourself and the situation, and this helps you keep your emotions in check so that they're not the ones running the show. You are. Number 5, sleep on it. Sleep on it. There's a quote, and I actually love this quote. I love this quote. It's, "The strongest warriors are time and patience. Power comes from their ability to transform situations, ease pain, and provide clarity." Sometimes you just need to sleep on it. Give it some time. The hardest thing for us to do, and I know this is the hardest thing, is to be patient. I know that's the hardest thing. But sometimes when you're patient and you give it time, you might see the situation resolve itself. How many of us find it very uncomfortable to be patient? I plead the fifth. I know I plead the fifth. And I've got to say this. This is one of the reasons why I play golf, and this is one of the biggest lessons that I have ever learned from a sport, and that is patience. That is patience. Being patient used to drive me insane. Waiting for something. That's one way for my anxiety to hit the roof, is having to wait, especially when the waiting doesn't feel like it's in my control. It's so unsatisfying, and it just fills me with anxiety. But instead of instinctively jumping into action, sometimes you just gotta give it some time, and by doing so, you stay in control. You give yourself a chance to fully digest the situation and analyze what's going on. You avoid those feelings of frustration and turmoil because you've given yourself a chance to truly think about, okay, what's happening? A lot of times when you're patient, things start to surface during that time. And I mean, boy, you might learn some things. Let's say you got a situation going on and it requires you to be patient. Just kind of wait. You go and sleep on it. And then you wake up the next day and you see that, okay, by giving it some time, something's happened where I can now make a decision a lot easier. You get some clarity because some time has passed. Time brings clarity. Time brings perspective. And it helps you organize all your thoughts you have in your head so that when you're going through something or you have an important decision to make, you can do so without feeling so rushed, without feeling so overwhelmed. This gives you control over your emotions that would otherwise hijack you. If you allow those emotions to dictate you or cause an immediate reaction, that's them hijacking you. So when you let the dust settle, it does exactly that. It lets the dust settle so that you can make a clear decision. Number 6, talk to a skilled self-manager or seek out a mentor. Most of our weaknesses, they're just products of us not possessing a skill naturally. And it's hard to develop skills when they don't come to us naturally. How many times have you tried to do something and you're like, man, I don't even like this, because it doesn't just gel with you right away? That's what it means when something's not coming to you naturally. Well, how do we know what we are lacking? How do we know what we can improve? How do we know what we can do to improve? Having a mentor is a key piece that will help with all those questions. So seek out a mentor. Find someone who you consider to be a master at self-management. Now, this is the other part. Invite them to lunch. Food is always a good way to start a conversation, but also it gives you the space to humbly ask them for help. Let them know you're seeking to improve your self-management skills. Let them know that you see them as a mentor or as a better self-manager than yourself, and then ask them for some help. Most people who you seek out, they're really going to respect when you humble yourself and ask them. But not only that, when you ask them out, or they join you for lunch or coffee or whatever it is, make sure that you have some questions prepared. That's going to let them know that you mean business and that you're serious. Now, I'm not saying that you just, interview them. I'm not saying you bring a physical copy or anything like that, but make sure that you have some things in mind to ask them. Make sure you have some specific examples. You want to have a flow to your conversation, but you want to have an intentional flow. You want it to sound like it's leading somewhere. Ask them about their lives. Ask them about their families, and establish a general interest in them. That might help you figure some self-management ways out without even having to ask questions. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm currently in the mentorship program at my job. My mentor is higher than me in the company. Every once in a while, we meet up like once a month. We talk, and we have come to the point now where we don't even look at the questions that they sent us. I asked him about his family. I asked him how he's doing. I asked him about parts in his life, and he doesn't even know this. I be listening to that part more than when I do ask him questions about the job. I listen to what he has going on in his social life and other parts of his life aside from the job. One, because it matches up with some things that I want to do with my own life, but also I have learned how similar we are, and it has shed some light on some things that I can do to make myself better. Much more than just, hey, how do I move up? Like, that sounds like a good question, and it is, but there's no personal aspect to it. When you ask somebody, hey, what's your family like? How are they doing? Tell me your story. Like, you don't have to say those specific things, but when you get to know somebody's story, when you get to know where they came from, that shows you how they got to where they are. Ask them for tips and tricks that they use to be excellent at self-management. Take note of their response and try some of the things that they advise. Share your specific goals with them and ask them to help you and to hold you accountable and measure your progress. That's going to be hard, because then they're going to be watching you. What I say before, they're going to be watching your ass, because they are. Share where you have the most trouble. Share where you're struggling. If they are true mentors, if they truly care about you, they will want to see you succeed. So it's not going to bother them that you might be struggling in one area. They're going to help lift you up. And then finally, as I've said before, the fortune is in the follow-up. Follow up with them and try to set regular check-ins with them. This is not only going to help you and help you be accountable, it's also going to give you smaller goals, so timelines to achieve certain things, but also you're going to establish a relationship with them. Now you have somebody else in your corner. You can add somebody to your network. Okay, number 6, smile and laugh more. I know that sounds pretty simple, but when you smile, your face sends signals to your brain to indicate that you are happy, like this. Can you see my dimples? I'm just playing. But seriously, when you smile, it sends signals to your brain that you're using your happy muscles. Your brain's like, okay, the happy muscles are on, so we must be happy, right? Your brain responds to the nerves and to the muscles in your face, and it determines that you're in a happy emotional state. You're literally tricking yourself into being happy. Now, how does this relate to self-management? Now, if you're stuck in a rut, or you're having negative thoughts, or you're feeling anxious, smiling and laughing helps alleviate those feelings by forcing your brain to counteract the negative emotional state. It does so with physical positivity. Forcing yourself to smile tricks the mind into feeling that positive mood, even if it's just temporary, even if it's just in that moment. There was a research project that they talk about in the book where people are reading something and they're kind of reading something a little heavy. And they had one group where the group held a pencil in their teeth, which helped them stimulate their smiling muscles, while the other group held a pencil with their lips, which did like nothing. The group who was using the smiling muscles, they found the articles that they were reading much easier to read. And they also did brain scans where it showed the happiness centers of the brains were being utilized more often while reading that article, while holding the pencil in their teeth. This just goes to show you that smiling helps alleviate negative feelings. Now, it doesn't eliminate negative feelings, nor should it. Remember, our emotions serve a purpose. But if you need that momentary, I need to smile, I need to feel better, this is something that will help. A lot of people like to put on a funny show, read a funny book, read a comic, look at jokes. Some people doom scroll. These are those things to get those momentary points of happiness, those momentary points to alleviate that negative pressure. Number 7, set aside some time in your day for problem solving. Now, how many of us feel like we got enough time in our day? I don't. Oftentimes I don't. But you have to make sure to set aside some time for yourself. We have so many responsibilities throughout our day. We have so many emotions that take place throughout the day. Many times we don't feel like we have time for ourselves. We're bouncing between emotions that can lead us to making rash decisions at inopportune times. Now, how many of us have made decisions because we felt overwhelmed or rushed? I plead the fifth. How many of us have just shut down for those reasons? I also plead the fifth. When you set aside scheduled time during your day for yourself to problem solve, and that's with no distractions, you give yourself space to focus on what's going on. You're able to address what's bothering you, and then you can utilize some of the other self-management tools to help yourself work through negative thoughts, emotions, or decisions. And you do all those things uninterrupted. This helps you remove the clutter from your mind so that you can make unmuddled decisions. What does unmuddled mean? It means cluttered. It means dusty. When you allow the dust to settle, you can make clear decisions. I really like that one. And I'm going to use that moving forward. Number 8, take control of your self-talk. What is self-talk? There's a strong relationship between what you think and how you feel, physically and emotionally. A lot of times we don't realize how much our thoughts impact how we feel at any given moment during the day. How many of us talk to ourselves throughout the day? You got that little voice in your head. We all have that internal voice that affects our perception of things. These are the thoughts that have the most influence on us. That's what self-talk is. Our thoughts are our primary vehicles for regulating our emotional flow. So what you allow yourself to think can bring up a variety of emotions. It can cause you to stuff them down. It can cause your emotions to intensify. Or you can just simply put yourself in a prolonged emotional state. You have to take control of your self-talk. By taking control, you'll help yourself stay focused. You'll help yourself stay motivated, which will ultimately lead to you making the right decisions and managing yourself more effectively. Now, of course, this is easier said than done. But there are some strategies to controlling your self-talk. Instead of saying, "Oh, I always this," or "I never this," say "this time" or "sometimes." By doing so, you're now changing your actions and putting them into a unique setting that is specific to the situation taking place. Even if the situation happens a lot, like even if you do it all the time, say, "I did that this time. I messed up this time." Or "You know what? I mess up sometimes." When you say always, you're putting yourself in a permanent state. When you say "this time" or "sometimes," you're treating the situation as unique. You're giving yourself room to grow. And then you stop making your problems bigger than they actually are. Replace judgmental statements like "I'm an idiot" with factual statements like "I made a mistake." When you put permanent labels, like I said before, You leave no room for growth, no room for improvement. Factual statements help you focus on what you can change. They are objective and they're based on the specific situation at hand. Accept responsibility for your actions. Take accountability, but also don't take responsibility for other people's actions. Make sure that you also assign accountability to everyone involved. Oftentimes, we like to play the blame game. Blame game and self-talk, those two go hand in hand. You either blame everything on others or you blame everything on yourself. Either one is not true accountability. You have to accept responsibility for your thoughts and actions and responses, but then you also have to put people's actions on themselves as well. And people will respect you more when you do. People will respect you more when you take accountability for your actions. But also, you will respect yourself more. And that's more important. You will respect yourself more when you take accountability for your actions. You can be like, you know what? I messed up right here. That's my fault. And moving forward, you can know, hey, I accepted the fact that I messed up right there. You can look at yourself in the mirror, but don't carry someone else's burden either. Their actions, their thoughts, those are all their responsibility. So you have to hold them accountable as well. All right, number 8, visualize yourself succeeding. Research has shown that your brain responds in a similar fashion to what you think and visualize versus what you actually see. So when you visualize yourself managing your emotions and behavior effectively, that's a great way to practice the skills that you've learned. I know, once again, this sounds fundamental and probably a little juvenile, but these actually really work. Imagine and immerse yourself being in difficult situations where you have to practice your new skills so that you can better master them. I would say start in a room where you're free from distractions. A lot of times they advise when you're on your way to bed. And let the scenes play out in your head. Practice using the techniques to alleviate the situation. Closing your eyes can help you visualize things. Focus on using the correct techniques in each situation. When you go to use the techniques in reality, this will help you do so more effectively because you've already gotten a little bit of practice in. And then when you're doing your visualization, incorporate new challenges as you continue to use the techniques. Make it into a game. Make it into a game with yourself. Hey, I'm going to try this. This is something also where creating a list can come into play. If you're doing a little bit of visualizing and things like that, write down some different scenarios and how you think you might be able to respond. We actually do some of this at work. It's not exactly visualizing, but we do some, it's a mix of visualizing and creating lists. We do what's called scenarios. We have a team that comes up with some different scenarios on, who we're advising to and how we can help them. And we literally go through a problem or a set of problems and we answer questions in a way to alleviate the pressures for the scenario. Why do we do that? We do that to practice so that if we come across the scenario in real life, in real time, we have actually thought it out a bit. We've said, hey, we did this scenario where we didn't cover everything, but we thought this through. And that gives us just a little bit more preparation so that when we are out there in the field where the work is real, we feel confident in how we respond. Number 9, I love this one. Clean up your sleep hygiene. Yes, sleep hygiene. Getting good sleep is important. Self-management requires patience, flexibility, and alertness. These are the first things to go out the window when you are not getting good enough sleep. The key to getting good sleep is good sleep hygiene. So when you go to sleep, that's your brain and your body's opportunity to recharge. Your brain stores important memories, and when you're asleep, it dumps the rest. But your brain is also very fickle when it comes to sleep. It needs to move through a complicated series of cycles in order for you to wake up feeling well rested. And if you don't go through those cycles, you are one cranky person. I know because I've been that person. I know because I've seen those people. You need to make sure that you are getting enough sleep. So, how can you improve your sleep hygiene? And this is going to sound a little bit different, but make sure that you get 20 minutes of morning sunlight. This helps reset your internal clock, and it makes it easier for you to fall asleep at night. Your sunlight should be unfiltered, so that means no windows, no sunglasses. You are actually outside in the sun. Unless you're a vampire, you're going to be fine. Find a way to get outside before lunchtime. That's when you want to let the sun hit you. You want to get sun-kissed. Turn off computer screens and other screens about an hour or two before you go to bed. Now, that's hard for me because I like to play a little bit of video games before I go to bed. I like to watch some TV before I go to bed. But I've been working on it. I've been trying to turn my screens off maybe 30 minutes to an hour before I go to bed. I've been sleeping a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been sleeping a little bit better. I find myself less restless, so I'm not tossing and turning as much, and it doesn't feel like my brain is active, in my sleep. So I would say, hey, try it. The blue light transmission from screens tricks your brain into thinking that it's still daytime, and that can throw off your clock. It makes it more difficult to fall asleep. If you're somebody like me, where you like to fall asleep with the TV on sometimes, adjust your screen settings to reduce the brightness and the blue light transmission. So you'll still have the noise, but you won't have the brightness that's keeping you awake. So that's less disruption of your sleep system. The other thing, keep your bed for sleeping. How many of y'all like to eat in y'all bed? How many of y'all like to chill in y'all bed? Nope. That's good. That's taking away the purpose of your bed. Keep your bed for sleeping. It helps you fall asleep faster. Your body and your brain are conditioned for sleep when you keep your bed just for sleeping. So that means your body's going to be like, oh, I'm in bed, time to go to bed. Your brain's like, oh, we are laying down, time to go to bed. Now, for all my coffee drinkers out there, y'all going to hate this one. Avoid caffeine in the PM. Avoid caffeine at night. Caffeine has a 6-hour half-life. So a cup of coffee at 8 a.m. will not fully leave your system until well after 8 p.m. Caffeine keeps you from falling asleep. It's very disruptive to the quality of your sleep. I know some people, man, they drink 3-4 cups of coffee per day. I'm like, how? And then they wonder why they feel like zombies the next day. I don't say nothing to them because that ain't none of my business. But I sit there and I be like, look, I don't even drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. I've had plenty of people be like, how don't you drink coffee? Don't you like to wake up? Don't you like to have a morning ritual? My morning ritual is me brushing my teeth, washing my mouth out with some mouthwash, pause. I shower sometimes, and then I will use the other time to watch a podcast or something like that, eat breakfast, and then I'm out the door. I like to let my brain naturally wake up. I like to let my body naturally adjust. I don't need some jolt to the system to feel awake. And what I've noticed is a lot of the times with the caffeine drinkers, and this is no shade, I want to make that clear, but a lot of times what I've noticed with the coffee drinkers, man, they be all upset if they don't get their coffee. I'm not trying to feel that way. So I don't even drink coffee. But if you are going to do it, make sure it's just in the morning. Don't do a whole bunch of coffee drinking at night. Number 10, focus your attention on your freedoms rather than your limitations. Now let me ask y'all this. How many of us have heard this mantra? Life isn't fair and there's nothing you can do about it. I plead the fifth. I heard that plenty of times. I heard it probably just last week. Where are my Nas fans at? Life's a bitch and then you die. Well, that can be true, but let's not limit ourselves, right? Let's not limit ourselves. The other side of those mantras is this. You have the choice on how you respond and how you proceed. You always have a say in your perspective of what's happening. Even if you can't control everything that's going on, You still have a say in how you react. You still have a say in how you proceed. Now, you can't just tell the future. Like I said, don't nobody have a crystal ball, but you get a chance to take control over your life and how you decide you want to respond to things. And that can be very freeing. And that's what you want to focus on. You want to focus on the things that you can control. Because a lot of the times we can't control what's happening. We can't dictate who or what's involved. But that doesn't mean it's time for you to give up. That doesn't mean it's time for you to throw in the towel. You don't just sit down and take whatever simply because you feel like you have no control. When you feel like you have no control, take a step back and take a look. Look and see, how are you reacting to the situation that you're in? When you focus on those restrictions and those limitations, that can be demoralizing. That's when those negative thoughts get a chance to creep in. That's when those negative feelings get a chance to surface. And this can cause you to feel helpless. This can cause you to feel hopeless. When you take accountability, when you do focus on what you have control over, that is what is freeing. That is what gives you a sense of power. You feel like you have control, even if you don't have control over everything. Having a small amount of control over something gives you freedom. It gives you power. So focus on what you can control and use some of the other self-management techniques to respond positively. Remain open-minded and flexible. And then finally, this is going to be hard, but consider taking the road less traveled. Consider taking the hard road. Consider taking the long journey. That might be your only way through. But guess what? When you decide to do that, you have now taken control over your life. I've talked about it many times. My journey to college was a long one. My journey through college was a long one. But it was something that I had to decide I was going to do. And by doing so, I took control over the part that I could control. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was one of the most satisfying parts of my life, because I knew it was gonna be hard, but because I decided to do it, I didn't know everything. I didn't know all the stops that it was gonna take. I didn't know everything about it when I chose it, but I knew that I chose it. And so it made all the challenges a little bit easier. It made all the tough times a little bit sweeter, because it was like, well, I'm on this road to get to where I want to go because I chose to be here. My journey in getting a job, man, I graduated during the vid. When I wanted to get a job, it was either one extreme or the other. One extreme was there were no jobs open because a lot of people had quit, or the industries just weren't hiring, things like that. I've talked about it before. I was a science guy. So if you weren't working directly in a hospital, there were few jobs out here because a lot of people were working from home, got laid off, or other things. So then when the job force did reopen, it was like mayhem, because you had people who were super experienced who had left the job force now looking for new jobs. I had to work in the meantime. So I was getting told, hey, we have this hiring freeze. We're not hiring. We're looking for people with more experience. All these things when I'm graduating college. I went and found me a job that was considered essential, but it was adjacent to my wheelhouse. It wasn't really in my wheelhouse. And I did that until I could find another job. But I knew that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take the road less traveled. I gotta find something now, because I'm not feeling good not making any money. I'm not feeling good just sitting here, waiting on time to pass. So I went and I found something to do. I didn't want to work in the hospitals because I knew I had family at home. And during that time, a lot of people were going. A lot of people were checking out, man. And I didn't want to be thrown in on the front lines well before I'm prepared. I didn't want to be thrown in on the front lines as another body, as another number, or anything like that. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to search for something else. I'm going to do something that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, and then I'll circle back around later when more jobs are available. I took the road less traveled, and you know what? It felt freeing to me because I made the decision. I took control of what I could control. I couldn't control the number of jobs out there, but I could control where I decided I wanted to be, and when I decided I wanted to work, and where I decided I wanted to work. And even to this day, I don't regret making that decision. So take control over what you can control. Focus on your freedoms and not your limitations. All right, number 11, stay synchronized. Now, I'm not talking about, having your watch synchronized. I ain't talking about no spy stuff, nothing like that. But we're talking about synchrony. That means having your body and mind in synchronization. Your body language matches the emotions that you are feeling and expressing. That is synchrony. And when you're doing well with self-management, your body language will fit the emotional tone of the situation that you're in. This means your emotions aren't getting the best of you. This means you have your emotions in check. Now, to help you become more synchronized, direct your attention away from emotions and focus on the task at hand. I'm not saying to avoid your emotions completely, but just shift your focus so that you are focusing on what's in front of you, not how does it make you feel immediately. This is going to make you more productive, and this keeps you from reacting immediately to everything going on around you. A lot of times when we have stuff going on around us, it's a lot at once, right? So if you're always reacting with your emotions, you're over here, you're over here, you're over there, you're over there, you're over there, you're over there, and it can feel like a whirlwind because it is. Because it is. Once again, we feel so many emotions throughout our day. So going through all of that, if we acted upon every emotion that we felt, we'd never get anything done. We'd never get anything done. So make sure that you are focusing on the task at hand and keeping those emotions in check, because then you're more productive and you can get things done. Number 14, speak to someone who is not emotionally invested in your problem. This goes along with the seeking out a mentor. A lot of the times it is far too easy for us to get stuck in a single train of thought. Our brains are constantly gathering, sorting, and analyzing and responding to data. Problem is, most of the time, we are the only perspective we have on the information being processed. We're the only ones going through it at the time, so we're the only ones we got. But here's the thing about it. When you're only thinking of your perspective, your options are severely limited because you're only thinking about your own perspective. You don't have that fresh set of eyes who can give you something else. You only see what you can see. Now, when you are able to share with someone else, when you are able to speak with someone else, it's such a relief. It's such a relief. How many of us, we have that friend who we talk to, whether it's to vent or to hear them talk or, get their advice, get their thoughts, but it just feels so much better after we talk to them. This is what I'm talking about. Like I said, even if it's just for them to listen, it's so nice to have somebody who cares about you enough to listen to what's bothering you. But more importantly, they can also add perspective, and they can add options that you didn't consider. This helps you problem solve more effectively. When problems do arise, seek out somebody who you trust, somebody who you care about, and somebody who you know cares about you. And this is the most important. Seek someone out who is not affected by the situation at hand. Why is that the most important? Because when you talk to someone who isn't involved, if you need to vent, they'll just listen. If you do need to problem solve, they can have a unique and unbiased perspective. This might help you see things differently. This can also help you expand your options, and you won't feel manipulated by their advice. You can trust that their advice is coming from a good place because they don't have any skin in the game. Their advice isn't tainted. Finally, avoid yes men. Avoid them. You don't want someone who's going to put batteries in your back. You don't want someone who they're going to say everything that you're thinking is correct. Why? Because this limits you to your perspective only. Once again, this leaves you no room for growth. Leaves you no room for growth, especially if your thinking is wrong. If your thinking is wrong, you need somebody who's going to check you. You need somebody who's going to challenge you. Why? Because that brings the best out of you. Now, I know that's hard to listen to. A lot of the times, we just want our friends to agree with us. But a true friend is going to challenge you when you need to be challenged. That's why they're your friend. Number 15, learn a valuable lesson from everyone you encounter. Learn a valuable lesson from everyone you encounter. Treat everybody with respect, but also approach all your encounters with people as an opportunity to learn from them. Over the weekend, I went to my buddy's wedding, and I was sitting at the table, and I was sitting with a group. There was a couple girls there, and there was a couple at the table. And one girl, she noticed, like, I kept saying thank you to our servers. Like, I was saying it every time they came to the table. But it was because, one, I wanted them to feel appreciated. We're here at a wedding on July 4th. July 4th. These people don't want to be here. They don't want to work this event. They want to be at home watching fireworks with their family, eating cookout food. So yes, I said thank you to them because I'm trying to show them respect for serving us because they're at work and it's a holiday where I didn't have to work. I'm at a wedding, enjoying myself. They bringing me drinks and food. Ain't nobody bringing them drinks and food. I don't even know if any of them got a chance to eat. So yes, I'm saying thank you to them. But here's the other part of that. When you show that respect, when you are nice to people, when you do treat people like, hey, this could be an opportunity to learn from them. This could be an opportunity to be nice. There was a time later on in the evening where I needed a little bit of help. It wasn't nothing crazy. I needed help getting inside the door. But they took it upon themselves to go out of their way to help me. They were on their break. They were chilling, doing their thing in the back. And they came from all the way around the building to help me out. So that means a lot. But when you treat people with respect, when you do treat the opportunities like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to learn, it can help you out. There are benefits. You never know who can help you. You never know when you'll need help, and you never know how somebody can help you. Here it is. I met somebody else at the wedding who they can help me with my business. They can help me plan some events that I have coming up at work and different things like that. I was only able to do that by approaching them with a willingness to learn. I learned about what it is that they do and keeping an open mind and treating them with respect. Doing this is the best way to practice being flexible and having an open mind. It results in less stress about situations going on, especially in moments where you feel like you caught off guard on the defense. Many of us hate bad drivers. I know I do. I be ready to cuss some of them people out. The other day I was driving and there's a hospital and their parking lot comes out onto the street. But the way that parking is on the street, the exit for the parking lot, people can't see. And so this person cut out of the parking lot and almost hit me. And I was mad. I was real mad because I saw my life flash before my eyes. I'm like, here I am coming down the street at like 25, 30 miles an hour, and they are gunning it out of this parking lot. And I mean, they didn't even stop when they heard me blow the horn. They just kept driving and almost took out the front of my car. But you know what? I kept it cool. An officer saw what happened ahead of me. He was ahead a little bit. And now they post police there to direct traffic every single day because they learned that this is a bad spot. Now, I could have stopped. I could have cussed everybody out. I could have gave this person a finger or anything like that. And who knows? I could have been pulled over or something. But instead, I was just like, you know what? I was able to keep my cool. It's not always possible, especially when driving. Now, how many of us got stories about that? But here's what I'm saying. because I was able to keep it cool, because I said, you know what, let me just keep on rolling. I don't know if it was because of me or maybe something else happened, but now there's an officer there who directs traffic. What did I learn from this situation? Be patient. Let some things go. But now there is a solution to the problem. Number 15, put a mental recharge into your schedule. Now, we talked about this before with us feeling like we don't have enough time. Most people don't realize how important resting and recharging is to your mental health. I talked about the deep breathing. I talked about the count to 10. But we naturally put pressure on ourselves to keep going. We naturally put pressure on ourselves to push through to the next task. How many of us have FOMO? Fear of missing out. We must learn to listen to our bodies and our minds and plan out times to rest and recharge. This sets boundaries for yourself, but also for others and for whatever task that you think you just need to do. When you set aside that time to rest and recharge, this actually helps you stick to a schedule. Not just your rest schedule, but the schedule of when you get things done. You can be like, nah, I'm not about to do this extra 20 minutes of work because I need to rest. Or I'm not going to do this extra bit of work because I need to do something else, and that will throw off my rest. That will throw out the rest of the day. That will throw off my relaxation, my recharging. So I have to set strict boundaries. It helps you stick to that schedule, and it helps you to keep yourself from overextending yourself, burning the candle at both ends. Don't just wait till you're overwhelmed either. Don't just wait till you're overwhelmed, because now you're already overwhelmed. You can't get that time back. So you need to plan these things ahead of time so that you don't get overwhelmed. Going to the gym can actually be relaxing. This is the most important way to relax your mind other than sleep. Going to the gym gives your mind a break. It physically takes the thoughts away from your mind because you focus on working out. You focus on the task at hand, especially when you're in a high intensity workout. When you're really pushing yourself, you have to focus on the task at hand in order to get it done. I work with somebody at the gym. They hit me up. They said, hey, Senator, you've been making some real progress at the gym. Would you mind working with me to, show me a couple of things? Because they wanted to learn just some of the routines and things like that at the gym. Say, hey, sure. Yeah, we can do that. In doing so, and I told them this, I've noticed not only have they gotten stronger, but a lot of other aspects of their life has changed. They've learned a little bit more self-control. They've learned a little bit more emotional control. And it comes from learning how to push yourself in the gym. And by doing so, you are now taking your mind off of those overwhelming thoughts. You're allowing your mind to recharge. When we get done, it's like, whew, I'm tired. But also, I don't feel as stressed at the end of the day. It takes the stress of the day away. Literally does, because you are working the stress off. It's hard to be angry and stressed out when you are physically tired. It's hard because you don't have the energy. You don't have the energy to be nervous. It's a good way to increase your sleep hygiene. When you're physically tired, your mind is soon to follow. Your mental is going to be like, hey, yo, we got a lot going on, but I'm tired. What was the other technique? Sleep on it. You will. When you're physically tired, you're mentally tired, you're going to go to bed, and you're going to give whatever some time. Remember how I said a lot of these work in tandem. This is a great example of that. This helps you with your mood control. Channel your anger into your workout. It might help you lift a little bit more. It might help you run a little bit farther. It might help you do one extra rep or one extra set. Now my a little gym client is gonna hate this, but there was one day where I made her mad. I was like, I don't care about what you're talking about. Finish the set. She hadn't seen that side of me yet, and it pissed her off. But guess what? She finished the set, had great form, and she pushed past her little plateau, she pushed past that threshold and was able to improve and make a really big improvement in her lifting. And then after we were done, I was like, okay, I gotta get you mad to really get you going, huh? And she was laughing, but it's the truth. It is the truth. Sometimes you gotta be a little mad. Sometimes you have to channel your anger. Sometimes you channel your stress into the workout. Not only will you see results in the workout, but then you come out of the workout and you've let it go physically. You have physically let it go in the gym. And so now you're not even thinking about it, or you're not thinking about it as much when you come out. The gym can help you find happiness. You can find happiness from accomplishing a new goal. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I want to increase my bench. I want to increase my bench press. A lot of times I don't have a partner, so I don't like to do the open bench. So what I'll do, I'll use like one of the machines, and I've been using a machine where you stack the weights on. And I made a goal. I wanted to go from where I was maxing out at like 4 plates, like I got to get up to 5. And when I made it up to 5, I said, okay, I got to do more than 2. Then I got to do more than 4. Then I got to do 6. Then I got to do 8. Now I got to do 10. I'm to the point now where I can do 10. I'm going to move up again. But you get happy after you accomplish those goals. It pushed me to want to do more. Other ways the gym has helped me. Like I said, I like to go after work. I like to go at the end of my day because I physically work off the stresses of the day. I ain't got no time to be angry after the gym. I'm too tired. And you better not come to me with no bull stuff because I'm too tired. I don't want to deal with it. Now, if I have to problem solve or something like that, I'll do that. But after I leave the gym, I am trying to enter a state of relaxation and eating food. That's my chill time. I choose my, recharge time as the gym and afterwards, because then I'm trying to, I might get a little thing done here or there. I'll usually do my 15 minutes of problem solving time after the gym. I have a clearer head, so I can see, okay, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to get done? I'm planning things out, then I'm done. I'm going to bed. I have that little bit of time where I'm still a little hyped up, but I'm physically tired, and then I'm going to bed. How you treat your body translates into how you treat your mind. So when you treat it like it's maintenance, that's when you really force yourself to take the time out to relax. When you say, okay, this isn't just about me finding time to relax, I'm making time to relax, then you'll start to be more relaxed. Some other activities that can help your mind as well: yoga, meditation, massages, gardening, anything that's a hobby that will allow your mind to recharge. Some people like to build stuff. But when you engage in relaxing activities, your brain releases chemicals like serotonin and other endorphins, which help recharge it and help you remain happy and alert. It also strengthens areas of your brain that help you with good decision making, planning, organization, and rational thinking. I talked about when I was going to the gym. I like to do my problem solving afterwards because I feel like I can think a little bit clearer because I have worked off the stress of the day. I've let those things go physically that were bothering me. Most of us have a hard time implementing a schedule for us to relax and recharge. And just like I said before, if you treat it like a maintenance activity, like something you have to do, it becomes a necessity and not a luxury. So that's going to make it much more easy to plan and implement and do. All right, last but not least, number 17. This one is a toughie. It is, except that change is just around the corner. Now, how many of us really like change? How many of us really like change? I don't, not really. I like to be comfortable, and comfortable is not change. How many of us have plans for our lives? Me, I plead the fifth. I have big plans. How many of our lives actually go according to our plans? Whether that be loosely or exactly. How many of our lives actually go according to our plans? Don't worry, I'll wait. The thing is, none of us have some crystal ball that's just telling us what's going to come next, right? So most of our decisions, maybe even all of them, come with a level of uncertainty. That uncertainty is change. It's change. We're going to need to change. Why? Because we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know if the decision we made was a good one or a right one. Hell, we don't even know if it's going to work out. But when you stay open to the possibility of change, that allows you to be more open-minded and flexible. We don't know every obstacle we will face in life. We can't predict that. We don't know when change will happen. We don't know how change will happen. I've said this quote in a video before: a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. Say it again: a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. So if you're not adaptable, if you're not able to change, you're going to have a tough time. The key to navigating change is your mindset. It's your mindset and your perspective before change even happens. Before it even happens, you have to be ready, and you have to know a change gonna come. You must prepare for change. You gotta embrace it even. You must know your obstacles in order to overcome them. How do you know your obstacles? Well, you gotta face them. Your obstacles, they're gonna require you to change. Overcoming them, that's the change. Learn how to anticipate change. Do you see the tides in the sea shifting? You must change in order to grow. You must change in order to grow. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. You must change in order to grow. You must change in order to deal with the tide, in order to deal with the waves, in order to deal with the rough seas ahead. You must learn how to pivot and change. Change is your ability to endure life's challenges and bounce back. You're gonna be knocked down in life, but do you have the ability to get back up? You have to. You must. In order to continue moving forward, you must accept that there is no aspect of your life that is completely under your control. Take control of what you can control, but always know that there is an element of uncertainty. And the element of uncertainty, that's the place where you're going to have to pivot and change. I had to pivot and change. Talked about it many, many times. I had to pivot and change in order to, achieve my goal of getting into college. I had to pivot and change in order to make it through college. I knew I was going to have to pivot and change. I talked about how I started at a community college, and I was going to have to pivot and change in order to transfer to a 4-year university. In order to get through that 4-year university, I had to pivot and change. My road actually took me 5 years. It wasn't because I wasn't smart. It wasn't because I wasn't achieving. I actually had some things happen that they weren't under my control. But I took control of what I could and used it to move forward. I talked about how I had to pivot in order to get my first job in my field after leaving college. I've talked about how I have pivoted even from that whole sector into a new realm, into a new job, into what I'm doing now. And that has changed my perspective. That has changed my life for the better, but it is something that I had to embrace in order to get there. I would have never started a YouTube channel if it wasn't for me pivoting and changing. I would have never have thought, like I said, doing the voiceovers, that was in the back of my mind. I would have never have done it if I didn't pivot and change. Change allowed me to have the courage to take the risk. So when you embrace the change, that's when you start to take control of your life. That's when you start to get better at self-management. And I'm going to talk about change in another video. I have decided. I have some other notes coming from some lectures that I've been through and things like that. I'm going to make another video, and it's going to be about change. might do it next. Yep, next video is gonna be on change. But I'm gonna close it out here on the motivational side. This was a long one, y'all. I understand, I know, but I hope that it helps somebody, because we're building each other up over here. That's men, that's women, that's everybody. So I want you all to understand, the work is getting put out here to help them. And it's not just helping y'all, it's helping me too. So with that being said, I want to get on to the music. Hey, we got a good album of the week this week. This was a goodie. I want to say shout out to my boy YG. He just dropped a new album a couple weeks ago. It is called The Gentleman's Club. This was a really good album. I liked the marketing campaign that he did leading up to this album. I liked the singles that he dropped leading up to this. I thought that it was very, very well done. Got me very hyped to listen to the album. I've listened to the whole album about 3 or 4 times now, and what I will say, this ranks inside the top 3 or 4 of YG's albums. I want to say YG has about 8 or 10 albums, maybe 8. But this ranks in the top half, at least. This ranks in the top half. Now, my favorite is still Stay Dangerous. That's my favorite. After that, probably still Brazy. It's number 2. This one might be number 3 though. It's got good flow, and then it has better continuity than some of his more recent albums. He actually talked about this in the interview. He said that some of his more recent albums, he felt like he was just throwing stuff together and it didn't have like a real flow to it like his older albums did when he first came out the game. And I respected that. I was like, you know what? You went back, you did some self-reflecting. Now, I liked some of his more recent albums. He had some good singles on there and stuff like that. But I agreed with him. It didn't have that song for song continuity, and this one does. So I think he showed more growth with this album. He also tapped into his ability to do a little bit more storytelling. He has a couple of songs on there. One is with JID and Ab-Soul, where he's doing a little bit more, it's not spoken word, but I would call it more like storytelling. And then he has another one on there as well, where it is a full-on story. Now that song is crazy, but it is a full-on story. But this is starting to showcase his abilities past just the party songs. Now, he got some party songs on there too, and I love those. Those are my favorite songs. But he did a really good job with this album. Now, speaking of favorite songs go as follows. At number 3, we got OMG featuring Pusha T. I really like this song, has a good beat. Pusha did a pretty decent job with his feature verse, and YG, I thought, did a nice job on the song. The other one is Hollywood. This is number 2. This is the dance song. This is the song you want to play at the club. You want to get everybody hyped. You want everybody to get their little 2-step on and all of that. I love this song, Hollywood. It is a banger. And I like the video as well. Straight up banger. Make sure y'all go check it out. But number 1, this is the song that makes me want to flex. This is the song that makes me want to go hard in the gym. Pause. This is the song that I'm blasting with the windows open all the way up. It's called Gang Business, and this song is crazy. I don't know who the feature is off the top of my head, but this song goes nuts. The beat is great. The lyrics, great. Everything about this song is fire. I love it. Make sure y'all go check it out. That is YG, The Gentleman's Club. Great album. We're going to close it on out for this recording. I want to say thank you to all my listeners. We building each other up over here, man. That's men, that's women, that's everybody. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the feedback I've been receiving. I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And check out our lives, man. Check out our lives. We starting to do numbers with the lives. We starting to do numbers with the lives. I think I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow. That is Tuesday. This video will be out Tuesday because I'm recording late Monday night. This video will be out because I gotta edit y'all. But as I always say, I will catch y'all on the next one. Make sure you check out them bug candles, man. You don't want the mosquitoes biting you. But everybody have a good week. Peace. I keep doing the hand stuff underneath the camera. Peace out.